Welcome everybody to ICRC Sports Gridiron Report. It's our premiere episode. We will be with you throughout the year to bring you all the news and information during the 2016 high school football season. I'm your host, Glenn Olson, and for our first episode, we wanted to start the series off with a sit-down interview with the Division IV Southwest Ohio Coach of the Year. We'll be joined in the studio by new Princeton Vikings head coach Pat McLaughlin. Stay right where you are. That interview is coming up right now. Coach McLaughlin, thanks again for joining us this evening here on our initial episode of the Gridiron Report. And congratulations on your new role at Princeton High School.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Very excited and appreciate all you guys do for high school football in Cincinnati.
It's our pleasure to do it. Coach, you're local to the area. You're a Moeller High School alum. You played quarterback at the University of Dayton.
Yes, sir.
What does it mean for you to be able to coach in your hometown?
I mean, it's awesome, you know, and I think the biggest thing is just how big and important high school football is in Cincinnati. A long time ago, someone said that, you know, it's the Reds, the Bengals, and on Friday nights and during the fall, it's high school football is the next, you know, biggest thing in Cincinnati. So to be able to coach here and help these young men hopefully grow, you know, and reach their aspirations is awesome.
Coach, last year at Reading, you had a great deal of success. Started off 9-0 before falling in triple overtime to Indian Hill and made the playoffs. You were returning a good chunk of your starters this year. What is it that was attractive about the Princeton job to convince you to make that change? Well,
I mean, you asked the question before about high school football in Cincinnati, and you know, you go back to the 60s, 70s, and 80s, I guess really 70s and 80s, and it was Princeton and Moeller. So people ask me that all the time, why Princeton? Well, you know, it is Princeton. So we've talked to our team about embracing the past, you know, but creating their own identity and setting their own journey and path for the future. They got new facilities over there, great leadership with Chuck Ogden, the principal, Dr. Tucker, the superintendent, Gary Crowley, the AD. And so just I think a lot of things are in place right now. A lot of positive things are going on at Princeton. I'm just happy and honored to be part of it.
You are definitely correct. There are some great things happening in Princeton. Driving by, the facilities are top-notch now, thanks to the taxpayer support they received over there. So you've had big school experience. As I mentioned, you're a Moeller alum. Talk about that transition from Reading to Princeton and what that's been like.
I mean, it's awesome. You know, there was a transition when I went from Moeller to Reading. You know, you're going to Division I we were 5, and then we went to 4, and then you know now going back up to Division II and going to the GMC. But I mean, I think you know, from a transition perspective, we have more people. You know, there's more coaches, there's more players. There's a freshman team, there's a junior high team. Some of those things that we didn't have. But I have a great support staff. I've hired great coaches, so I'm able to delegate a lot of things, and they've done an outstanding job. But to me, I think coaching's coaching. Whether you're coaching your son's team in 2nd grade or 5th grade, or coaching basketball, boys or girls, you know, having a relationship with the kids, doing things the right way. We always call it the process. That's not going to change no matter where you're at. You know, NFL, college, high school. If you want to do things the right way, there's a commitment at Princeton to do things the right way, and you know, we're going to do things. You know, give our kids a chance to be successful.
From your experiences at Moeller, how has that helped you with the transition, both as a player and as a coach?
Well, it's helped a lot. I mean, Coach Crable was at Moeller at first, and then John. The experience that you get coaching there and playing, you know, a national schedule week in and week out, you know, has been invaluable to me. And just the manpower that it takes really to run the program has been awesome. You know, getting ready to play in the GMC and all these great coaches and great players, you know, that preparation, what we do on Sundays, the game planning, the practice, knowing what it takes, I think is probably the biggest thing that I can help bring, you know, from my experience there and Reading to Princeton.
Coach, you've mentioned the GMC a couple times now, and obviously it's a very well thought of program, to say the least, in Southwest Ohio and across the state of Ohio in high school football. What's it like coming into the GMC now as a competitor?
I'm excited. I mean, I think one of the things, you know, as a competitor, as a former player, and now a coach, I mean, you want to coach against the best coaches, play against the best players, and arguably, I think the GMC is the top league in the state, maybe one of the top leagues in the country. I mean, Colerain's ranked number 7 in the USA Today top 25 poll. So to be able to compete in this great league week in and week out, I think is awesome. You get to do stuff like this, and they're in the news. And between the GCL and the GMC, I think that two highly thought of leagues across the United States.
Both leagues definitely dominating the first preseason coaches poll that the Inquirer's published.
There's
over
no
the
doubt
last
about
couple of
that.
days.
So we're ranked 12th, so that's fine. Our kids noticed that, and deservedly so. We haven't done anything yet, and we haven't. The tradition, the pride, kind of, so to speak, at Princeton. We're ranked 12th in Division II poll, and that's probably where we should be right now.
Okay. Coach, talking about your Vikings this year, what's the season going to look like for your kids? I know you've lost some players to graduation, but you have a wealth of returning talent as well.
We do. We have 4 captains. Our seniors, we had a team day a couple weeks ago, and our kids picked 4 seniors to be the captains: Jamal Hines, Lavelle Gilbert, Samson Hairston, and Solomon Reed. They're 4 high-quality kids. They're high-character kids. They're good in the school. So the biggest thing that I've taken so far is the leadership has been outstanding. In really every class. The senior leadership has been great. The juniors, sophomores, they followed. We got leaders in every class, and that's awesome. I'm just excited, to go out there against Glen Estee, not looking ahead to Lakota East, but I want to get out there and see how we're going to compete, in a really game-like situation.
Coach, you're obviously going to bring your flavor of offense
Yeah.
to the Vikings this year. What's that going to look like for the Viking fans?
Well, if you've seen us at Moeller and you've seen us at Reading, we're going to be spread, no huddle. We'll run a lot of formations. We'll be pretty simple in the types of plays that we run. Our whole thing is put our kids in position to be successful. We have athletes on the perimeter, so we're going to get them in space. We'll throw the ball deep. We'll take what the defense gives us, but we try to get everybody the ball that can touch the ball on offense, spread it around, up-tempo, use varied tempos, and huddle some. But we're going to be spreading the ball around. We're going to be running fast and hopefully scoring a lot of points.
And Coach, in that spread offense, there's a lot of responsibility on the quarterback's shoulders.
Yeah.
Who's going to be taking those snaps for your quarterback this year?
Yeah, one of the guys I just mentioned, Solomon Reed's going to be the quarterback. We had a 3-way battle between Raphael Floyd and Hosea Hairston. They'll be starting at receiver, so be ready. We might have some trick plays in there. We'll have 4 quarterbacks on the field at one time because Terrence Smith will play running back. He played quarterback last year. Obviously, Solomon will start. I think just as a senior, the leadership he's provided, getting the offense going, commanding everything, getting the offensive line set up, formation set up, audibles or checks or whatever. He's been the best so far, and he's got an arm talent. He can throw the ball and make all the throws that we ask him to make.
Well, it sounds like not only are you going to be able to spread the field, you're going to stretch the field as well with
Yeah.
that kind of talent on the field at the same time.
Yeah, I mean we're gonna throw the ball deep 4 to 5 times a game. That's always been a philosophy that I've had. So whatever defense that we're playing, they can expect us, in varied areas to throw the ball deep 3 to 4 or 5 times a game, and just worst case scenario, it's a jump ball and get our guys in space.
What kind of changes can the Viking fans expect defensively?
Well, when I took the job, one of the things that I tried to do was to speed up the learning curve, so to speak. So we kept the defense basically the same. Steve Sheehan, the longtime coach at Cape, Oak Hills, Clark Montessori, Bob Odom, Ryan Evans, Steve Watson, they've done an outstanding job on the defensive side of the ball last year and the year before. So we have 9 returning starters on defense. So the offensive staff is basically new except for Bill Lapthorne. The defensive staff is the same, so you can expect them to be running around. They know their assignments. They're I shouldn't say a lot, but they're ahead of our offense right now because they've been there. They know the offense. They know the schemes. They play fast, and they've done an outstanding job so far.
Okay, Coach, and finally, what goals have you set for the Vikings this year? What goals have the players set for themselves in the first year of your being the head coach?
Yeah, goals are important, but honestly, our goal right now is to get better every day. And we can say, I can sit here and say we had our inter-squad scrimmage 2 or 3 weeks ago. It wasn't very pretty. And then we had Turpin Indian Hill scrimmage the following Tuesday. We got better, all right, from Saturday to Tuesday. And then we had Moeller last week in a scrimmage on Saturday, and we got better from Tuesday to Saturday. And now we've got to show during a game week preparation we can get better from Moeller to Lakota East, who we scrimmage on Friday night, and obviously get better and be prepared, be at our highest level on August 26th against Glen Estee.
Coach, final question for you. What do you think it's going to be like when you take the field, Pat Mancuso Field in Viking Stadium as head coach for the first time, knowing the tradition of the Princeton Vikings brand over the years?
Well, I'm excited. I don't know what it's going to be like, but I've told a lot of people, I believe that you'll have a first-class football team, a disciplined team, and a team that we're going to put on the field that the Viking community, Viking Nation, that they can be proud of.
Well, Coach, we do appreciate your time. ICRC-TV Sports will be out to cover Coach McLaughlin's first game against the Glen Estee Trojans. We'll look forward to bringing that to you in a few days. But, Coach, thanks again for your time and for joining us on our initial episode.
Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate it.
Joining us next in the studio will be Mason Comets head coach Brian Kastner. So stay right there. We'll be back after this break.
This is the city where danger lurks. Today, a new creature walks among us, terrorizing innocent citizens. They prowl the streets alone and in packs, causing mayhem, destruction, and carnage. Warning, until this threat can be contained, we must all be on the lookout for the dreaded digital deadwalkers. They're not looking out for you.
Dude! Engage!
A public service safety message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, who want to keep everyone well connected
Sorry.
with strong, healthy bones.
I would do anything for my friends. They're like family to me. Sometimes saying no can be scary. But I'm so glad I was brave enough to say yes to living a drug-free life. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Welcome back. And joining us on the Gridiron Report for our second interview is Mason Comets head coach Brian Kastner. Coach, thanks for joining us today.
No problem, Glenn.
Coach, what are you expecting out of your team this year? You guys finished 8-3 last year, made it to the first round of the playoffs. What's the expectations for the Mason Comets this year?
You know, this is my, like you said, 7th season, and we've continued to build every year, and we feel like we always build off of our big four, the faith, family, academics, football. That's always going to be our big four. But going into this season, we want to take that momentum that we had from last year, from Team 54, and take it to Team 55. And we want to make sure that we build off of that and continue with the process, love one another, play for one another, and try to figure out how we can finish. That's a big part of our questions right now as a staff and as players. So we want to find out how to finish. And we have a couple different things that we're trying to execute, and that's playing as hard, if not harder, for that next guy so that we understand how to finish. I want to play harder for that guy next to me than I do for myself. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Now, Coach, you lost a lot of talent from last year's team, as I mentioned, that did make it to the playoffs. You only have 2 defensive starters coming back, 4 on offense. Can you tell us a little bit about some of those guys that you lost to graduation and who you're expecting to step up and fill those roles now?
Yeah, Team 54 was a great year, especially with talent. Ty Sponseller went to UC. Bryson White went to Western Michigan. The defense had 3 Division I players that went on and played, and we had other smaller level players that went on and played, still playing college football. D'Angelo Simmons went to Bowling Green. Nick Pearson went to Lafayette. So, that was the second best, whatever you want to call, rated statistical defense in the GMC, which I think is the best 10-team conference in the GMC, or in the state. And then offensively, we lost some good players as well. And, defensively, we have 2 starters back. Offensively, we have 4.5, 5 starters back. So we have some young players that are stepping up and are working hard. We just got to find out how to be consistent, how to finish.
Now, you do have your quarterback back for this season, Preston Hutchinson.
Yes.
Tell our viewers at home a little bit about that young man.
Preston Hutchinson is he's a 3-year starter. Really, he started as a freshman at his school previous to us. He moved away for a couple years. He was with us in grade school, and then he came back his sophomore year. So he really is a 4-year starter at the high school level. And he's going to Eastern Michigan, and I'll tell you what, they are getting a good one. He's an all-around young man that that all-American young boy, that young man that you want to represent your school. He's really good with children. He's really good with the special needs kids. And then on the field, he's a good leader, and he can be better. He can be better. I always try to get him to be more vocal, but he loves to compete. He loves the game of football.
Sounds like Eastern Michigan's getting a great young man.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more about what we can expect to see from him on the field. Is he a mobile guy? Is he more of a drop-back passer?
He can do it all. He always says, "I want to be faster. I want to be faster. Let me run the ball. Let me be able to get out of the pocket." But he can throw three-step. He's mobile. He can command respect from the offensive line and the running back and the skilled positions. I feel like he has a little bit of everything. He just needs to continue to keep growing and understand that he doesn't have it all figured out. He's never that type of person, but he just needs to make sure that he's continuing to keep learning as that quarterback.
Coach, who can we look for Preston to get the ball to, whether it's handing it off in the backfield or passing it down the field to a receiver or tight end? Who are the guys that are going to stand out for you in the comments?
We're going to distribute the ball really well, but we have a good 3-4 running backs that we can get the ball to. Matt Sora is probably the biggest guy that's returning. James Grace, Michael Kopigaratsky is our fullback. Austin Croy, Will Adams are our wide receivers. Tight end is Christian Hutchinson, his brother, who's a junior, and he likes throwing it to his brother as well. So those all are good, solid players. There's no really weak links. There's nobody that's so young that you're like, I don't know what's going to happen. They love the game of football and they play hard.
Coach, a couple moments ago you mentioned the GMC, the Greater Miami Conference. It's obviously one of the premier conferences in Ohio high school football. Talk about the GMC this year and what you're expecting out of your opponents.
I'll argue till the day is long. It's the best 10-team conference in the state. From top to bottom, what you get to see year in and year out, week in and week out, it's the best. And obviously starts with Coleraine. They've won our conference 15, 16 years in a row, and it doesn't look like they're losing any steam. So until someone takes them down, it's going to be their conference. And you can go into Lakota West and Sycamore and Fairfield and East and all of them. You keep going to Hamilton, Middletown. It just keeps going. Princeton. They got a great leader right now. Pat McLaughlin has taken over, and I went and watched them on Saturday. And man, I tell you what, he's got them going. It's going to be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting season in the GMC. You mentioned Coleraine. That's kind of where it stops and starts here over the last several years, as you mentioned. Last year, your team was able to hang with them for 3+ quarters, let's say, before Coleraine was able to pull away late. What was your team able to learn from that game that can help you compete with them this year?
Well, first and foremost, we just didn't finish. We had them 7-7 in the fourth, and we didn't finish. We let them finish the game, and that's why they beat us. We felt like we were close. We felt like we were at the door knocking on it, but we just didn't want to knock it down. For whatever reason, we didn't grab the bull by the horns. We just didn't finish, clearly. I'd like to think that these players that are going to be on Team 55 this year, they're going to get another opportunity to play Coleraine. They're going to get another opportunity to play Springboro and so on. But we're going to take 1 week at a time. It's going to be a great week to go 1-0. Every week it's going to be that mindset. We're not going to look forward. And the seniors have said that. The seniors have great chemistry. There's no doubt about the chemistry that's with this senior class. But they've really stressed, Coach, we're going to go 1 week at a time. It's a great week to go 1-0. We're going to control the attitude and the effort every day. We're going to wake up, take the head off the pillow, and we're going to attack the day. We're going to win the day. And you know what? If we don't win the day, if something happens where we have adversity, well, we're going to make up the next day and attack that day. And we control two things. We control our attitude and we control our effort. And that's all that we can really guarantee every day. And if we do that at a high level, great things will come for us. We really do believe if we can control that, greatness will come for us. So we're going to keep working. We're going to grind. Our staff grinds. Our staff is a great staff. It's one of the best staffs I've been around in 24 years of coaching high school football. I'm very happy with them. And we're blessed. I'm blessed to be around them and to be able to share them with these players that love the game of football.
Now, Coach, with that GMC schedule, it's kind of a blessing and a curse when it comes Harbin Point time late in the year, depending on how well you've done. But I also notice on your schedule you have Moeller this year. Talk a little bit about that Moeller team you're going to be playing.
Well, it's week 3, And it's that, it's historically it's the best team in the state of Ohio. I mean, they've won multiple state championships. So we know the task that's in front of us. We understand that they're going to be a great team, that they have a plethora of talent. But you know what? When the whistles start, the ball gets kicked off, we're going to go after them the best we can. We're going to give them everything we got. They are going to be coming off, I think, a 5-5 season, so they're going to be chomping at the bit early in the season. They're going to be hungry. So we're week 3, so we're going to have a couple weeks to worry about that. We're going to, address St. X this week in our scrimmage and get better and find out how we can, fix some little things that we need to fix from the elder scrimmage, and then we're going to move on to Springboro and go to week 1.
Well, Coach, and then this week you will have Springboro. You're obviously very familiar with Springboro. You guys, this will be the 3rd time you've played over the last 12 games.
Yeah.
Give our fans at home a little bit of a sneak peek about that game.
Well, we'll start with their head coach. Ryan Wilhite is a really good friend of mine, and we've been friends for a long time, and he does a great job. He gets his players to play hard. They're prepared. I can't say enough about their staff. He's got some talent. He's got a talented receiver. He's got a quarterback that can spin it again. He lost a quarterback to Bowling Green last year, and now he's got a quarterback this year that from just one scrimmage, he's obviously got him ready. He's got a defense that gets after the ball, and he's always sound on special teams. So we know what's in front of us. We know that we have to be prepared. We lost to them last year on our field in the playoffs. So we have to regain something back. We've got to do something for Team 54 with this Team 55, and we've got to figure out how we can put some stress on them and make sure that they feel us early, make sure that they understand that they're in Dwyer Field, they're at Mason, and then we're gonna do the best we can preparation-wise, and we're gonna take one play at a time and get after them.
Coach, thanks so much for joining us in studio. Don't go away. Coming up next, we'll preview Week 1 of ICRC's Friday Night Football.
Did you go tanning? Yeah, check it out. You're getting so tan. Finals are the worst. We need some sun. Where's your tan? It's melanoma. I'm stage 3.
Melanoma is the 2nd most common cancer for young women 15 to 29. Protect yourself. Protect your friends. Stop tanning. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
I am a veteran, and my victory was finding the strength to be a champion.
I am a veteran. My victory is having a job I can be proud of.
America's veterans are on their most important tour, the tour of their lives.
My victory was finishing my education.
Mine is proving a disability is not a limitation.
At DAV, we're on a mission to help veterans get the benefits they've earned.
My victory is having my new battle buddy.
As veterans face their challenges, DAV is there to help for victories great and small.
I'm a veteran, and my victory is getting the help I needed to put my life back together.
DAV offers veterans of all generations a lifetime of support.
I am a veteran. My victory is being there for my family.
When America's veterans win, we all win. Help us support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Welcome back. One of our first ICRC Friday night games is part of the 19th annual Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown, with the Glen Estee Trojans taking on the Princeton Vikings, one of our ICRC community schools. This game will take place at Princeton High School, and will give Princeton an early test as to how much the Vikings are buying in to Coach McLaughlin's way of doing things. Princeton, as we discussed with Coach McLaughlin, has installed a new offensive scheme, and who will be the field general at the quarterback position was a major question mark for Vikings fans, but Coach McLaughlin gave us the answer to his quarterback battle, and Solomon Reed will have good protection on the offensive line, led by Samson Hairston, the 6'3", 280-pound senior who has been an all-second-team GMC selection the last 2 seasons. Should the Vikings offense stumble, senior punter Raymond Kozlowski can be counted on to pin the opponents deep as he averages 37 yards per punt and had a long of 89 yards last year. Defensively, senior Jamal Hines, who is a 3-year starter and has already committed to the University of Cincinnati, will bring leadership along with 146 tackles, 12.5 sacks, and 5 fumble recoveries. In the defensive backfield, senior Leroy Wilson and junior Anthony Rogers combined for over 150 tackles. Gilbert, by the way, does have an offer from Kentucky Christian to continue his playing career. For Glen Estee, this is their final season, as next year both Glen Estee and Amelia will be combined under the Claremont Wolves banner. As such, Trojans coach Nick Ayers has dubbed this season One Last Ride, and he's hoping to make that a smooth ride despite losing quarterback Tyler Pilcher to graduation, along with nearly 2,600 passing yards and 22 touchdown passes. Robbie Boone has also graduated and takes with him over 1,500 yards rushing and 23 touchdowns in his senior campaign. Coach Ayers is looking to Evan Shirley for leadership at quarterback. Shirley, who is listed at 6 feet and 7 inches, had a great offseason of preparation for taking the reins at quarterback this season. He may not scramble around the way Pilcher did, but he has tremendous arm strength, and Coach Ayers thinks the offense will be just as good, if not better. Mason versus Springboro will be the second game of our Friday night football coverage. The Comets will be led by senior quarterback Preston Hutchinson, who last year threw for 1,095 yards and 11 touchdowns. He'll be missing most of his offensive weapons from Team 54, with only a handful of starters returning. One of those starters will be Matt Sora, who ran for 559 yards and 9 touchdowns in 2015. Hutchinson will also be joined on the offensive side of the ball by his brother, Christian Hutchinson, at tight end, so there's sure to be chemistry there. On the defensive side of the ball, the Comets, who last year had the second-ranked defense in the GMC, will be fielding a unit that only returns 2 starters, so managing the high-power offenses of the GMC will be crucial for Mason this season. Before they get to the GMC, though, that defense will be faced with a familiar foe, as we discussed with Coach Kastner, and the Springboro Panthers. The Panthers lost standout quarterback Elijah Cunningham to graduation, and he's now playing at Bowling Green with former Mason standout D'Angelo Simmons. Springboro will be led by a 2-headed attack at running back and senior Liam Foley and junior Dylan Jones. Last season, Foley ran for 670 yards and 6 touchdowns, while Jones ran for 883 yards and 13 touchdowns. Also keep an eye out for senior wideout and Toledo commit Nick Kovacs, who last year caught 78 passes for nearly 1,200 yards and scored 19 touchdowns. These 2 games are sure to be an entertaining start to ICRC's Friday night football season. Tune in next time as we'll review weeks 1 and 2 of high school football action, and we'll debut a new segment, the fast-paced 2-minute drill. Thanks again for watching. I'm Glenn Olson. So long for now.